Formula 1 turns to China to host the next round of the 2018 season, and if Bahrain is anything to go by, China should serve up another fantastic race. After a stroke of luck from the Formula 1 gods, rookie Dixon won in Bahrain when Raikkonen retired. The young Brit took to social media to express his happiness, fully acknowledging his fortune. Turning back to China, however, once again, both Saubers and both Williams were out in Q1, and Stoffel Vandoorne still can't manage to get his McLaren out of Q1, and continues to worsen his 2018 qualifying record. Q2 saw an upset for rookie Chris Dixon halfway through his first flying lap. He put his rear tyre on the curb and spun his car across the gravel into a wall.
Alright mate, let us know you're okay, please.
Yeah, I'm okay guys. I'm sorry.
Romain Grosjean also failed to make Q3, along with Carlos Sainz and both of the Toro Rossos. China was the first time both Force Indias made it into Q3, however they couldn't manage any better than 9th and 10th. Hulkenberg managed P7 ahead of Alonso, Kimi Räikkönen failed to beat either of the Red Bulls, and it was Ricciardo who was ahead of his teammate Verstappen. Valtteri Bottas took his first pole position of the season ahead of Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel will do what he can to get amongst the Mercs, and Dixon will try and cut through the field. Let's get down to Chris for the race.
What is up guys, welcome to a brand new career mode video, and today obviously we are driving the Chinese Grand Prix in this career mode. We're looking pretty decent after our last time out in Bahrain, getting our first race win. Obviously helped us out a massive amount in terms of getting notoriety through the paddock, and we're going to try and continue what we can. Had a really bad incident obviously in qualifying, didn't really help us out much there, but all in all wasn't too bad. We had good pace all throughout, and hopefully on the soft tyres we can actually get some momentum going on our at least first stint. The second stint's going to be difficult because obviously we're going to be going onto the super soft tyre, but it's going to be interesting to see how we can do as we pull up to our grid slot. Interesting pole position to say the least. Obviously got both Mercedes looking out the front row. Jesus Christ. It's going to be interesting to see how they actually manage to go on there. But obviously we're waiting for the lights to come on now. We have all 5 lights on and we are on the way. Hamilton on the right, Bottas is on the left-hand side. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas are going to go side by side into turn 1. You can see there's a bit of movement up the back, but Bottas having to go a little bit more aggressive than he probably would normally. You've got Sebastian Vettel in the background as well, going side by side with the Red Bull is Kimi Räikkönen. So the Red Bull looks to get past Räikkönen as it stands, and you can see Räikkönen does get ahead of the other Red Bulls. He doesn't lose out too much of an issue. There's a collision in the background with ourselves as us and Ericsson, as we're going to come across and we just make some contact with Daniel Ricciardo. We got flown across the gravel into the path of Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo does seem to actually be moving not too bad, because Stoffel Vandoorne is going to try and pick up some pieces on us as we kind of gather our marbles a little bit and try and make sense and make sure that the car's okay and there is absolutely no damage to our car after that. That was a really heavy impact. It's not often you see an F1 car go across that part of the track, let alone the gravel, and if we don't have any damage, that'll be interesting to see. But obviously we're going to get some team radio during the replays to find out in that case. But crazy and a very aggressive move by Ericsson, to say the least. This is what happens if you start so low down the grid. You face this potential to happen to you. And sure enough, we came a cropper to it. You can see Stoffel Vandoorne being put under pressure by Charles Leclerc. So Charles Leclerc is doing a fantastic job. Being far at the back. Is in P16, I believe, at this point in the thing. But here we go. Let's look at the replay. So we go to the right-hand side, and Ericsson just swipes across and takes us out, which is out of order. Let's look on board so we can have a good view. Oh, what a dear. Oh, I don't know if I have damage.
Can't see any damage at the moment. We'll check at the pit stop. Keep your head down.
So as you can see, quite a hefty impact into Daniel Ricciardo. Here's Ericsson's point of view. We go to the left-hand side. He just comes along and just turns in on us. And obviously we got locked on his tyres, and Ericsson kind of just parks it by the side of the track. But if anything, the most unfortunate casualty of all this was Daniel Ricciardo. We look at Ocon's point of board, and we're going to see me just fly in and just going into the side of Ricciardo. We couldn't do anything about that, as obviously Daniel Ricciardo couldn't do. He probably wouldn't even seen us coming until the very last second, but Ocon obviously gaining out of that. We definitely didn't gain anything out of that whatsoever. But Ricciardo's going to try and make that move back on Esteban Ocon into turn 1. Ricciardo's going to go all the way around the outside. Very long sweeping left-hander turn 1 and turn 2. All the way into turn 3. Try and make sure you get just ahead of the car. And Esteban Ocon has managed to actually lose another position, bless his heart. But we're trying to move up the grid. We're going to go down the inside of Brendan Hartley. Try and make him move up to the field and get back to where he was. And hopefully catch up to Ocon. Here's Stoffel Van Dorn re-overtaking Charles Leclerc after Leclerc managed to actually get past, but Stoffel Van Dorn's up one more position if he can actually keep it, because Charles is actually trying to fight back as best he can in that style by Alfa Romeo. We've got Bottas and Hamilton fighting for the lead again. This time the Mercedes aren't having they're not taking it lying down. The Mercedes boys, both of them want this win, seeing as they haven't got a win on the board this season. And as long as they don't come together, everything should be okay. Bottas does get the upper hand at this point in time. We're still trying to move through the field. Science leaves the door wide open for us as we slot into P13, just behind Pierre Gasly and our teammate Romain Grosjean. But I'm going to follow this on board just a little bit. As Pierre Gasly leaves the door open, we get a lot of understeer, under braking. We actually made a little bit of contact with Gasly, but Gasly, hey, he's a good power man. You won't worry too much. As we're going to come across into the third and final sector, you can see we just squeeze them out a little bit of road, and we're going to make our position up behind our teammate Romain Grosjean, which is obviously our next target to hopefully get towards the end of the straight. With a little bit further forward, you can see Nico Hülkenberg is now attempting to overtake Pierre Gasly. So it's going to be interesting to see if Hülkenberg can get the move done on Pierre. Obviously, we compromised Gasly a little bit into the clutches of Nico Hülkenberg, but Hamilton is now re-attempting to overtake Valtteri Bottas into turn 1. The slipstream these Mercedes have on one another is absolutely fantastic. So Hamilton definitely looking like he has the measure of Bottas so far. They're going to go side by side all the way through. It looks like Bottas might hold on to this position as he gets cut off by Lewis Hamilton. We go down the inside of Romain Grosjean and Sergio Perez at the same time. Fantastic double overtake manoeuvre from ourselves. That moves us up to a position. We've got Max Verstappen attempting to overtake Sebastian Vettel round the outside. Ricciardo managed to make this move on Esteban Ocon, but I don't think Vettel will allow Verstappen, who will have the inside for the next corner, but Vettel might get a better drag out into the hairpin. But it looks like Verstappen will make that move as we close up to Nico Hülkenberg. Now Hülkenberg is I don't know what he's doing, in all honesty. He's very slow at this point at this point of the race. The Renault really not doing that good in terms of race pace, and probably where they expected to be throughout the season. So it's going to be interesting to see what Renault do and how Renault go from here. We've got Fernando Alonso in the super soft tyres coming to the end of their life. We're going to get such better traction out of the hairpin than Fernando Alonso. All the way to the left hand side, Alonso is actually going to hold it, which I respect admirably, but he's going to lose it under braking, and we're going to try and take advantage, basically do what we did to Pierre Gasly with a little bit less contact if possible. We're going to squeeze him just a little bit, not run him out of road, but make sure that we do get a position on coming on to lap 6, and you can see we are closing up to Esteban Ocon. We're going to have to go the long way around, like Hamilton, like Ricciardo, like Bottas and Verstappen. We're going to have to go all the way around to try and make this move work. And coming into turn 2, about to start turn 3, and pretty neck and neck at the moment. We should have it on the traction because obviously the old tyres for Esteban Ocon. But we're now up to 5th place, so it's a net P5, assuming everything goes okay. Lewis Hamilton is in the lead. Bottas has pit, so Hamilton trying to get some clear air. You can see the two Ferraris running very close to one another. They might come back and have a little bit of a battle later on. We'll have to see how that goes. But Charles Leclerc currently running in the points as it stands at the moment. So Charles Leclerc is doing a fantastic job in P6. So well done to him, seeing if he can hold on to that. He hasn't made a pit stop, I don't believe. So yes, as he comes in for that pit stop now. So you've got Brendan Hartley coming out of the pit lane, I believe. Oh, sorry, Pierre Gasly coming out of the pit lane. He's actually going to go and get some damage. Maybe his rear end could be possibly damaged by the Force India, but Raikkonen is making an opportunity on Vettel. Just like I said, they might get very close at some point in this race. Raikkonen, right up the gearbox of his teammate, he's going to have to relinquish that corner to Sebastian. We're coming into turn 14? Turn 20? Either way, it doesn't really make much of a difference because Hamilton has now pit as both Ferraris go ahead through. Hamilton hopefully will come out just ahead of Bottas to try and slow everyone else. There's Vettel coming through the pit lane. So Hamilton's been held in the pit lane. That could mean an awful lot when it comes to Valtteri Bottas. We're waiting to see if we can see him go past and just that could have really cost Hamilton in terms of getting the lead. Obviously, Vettel comes out. There goes Bottas. So yes, that hold detrimental to everything that happened with Lewis Hamilton, which is quite disappointing.
Alright mate, couldn't see any damage, not sure, but just keep going.
So that's good to hear. No damage on our car whatsoever. Being able to get to this point, obviously I wanted to double check during the pit stop phase, but Lewis Hamilton obviously a little bit close to the Red Bull, probably more than he wanted, but Hamilton not doing too bad of a job. You can see we've got a massive train with the Renault. I believe it's Hulkenberg we're looking at. Indeed, it is Hulkenberg. He's got a little bit of a train behind him. So he's going to have to watch that out just a little bit at least. We've got Brendan Hartley, who has got a Renault behind him and a McLaren ahead of him. And that's Brendan Hartley going to have to retire from the race. He almost swipes across and takes out one of the Renaults. So that's Brendan Hartley out. This is obviously not good for him. And there's Raikkonen pulling off to the left-hand side. So that's Raikkonen out for 2 races in a row. Raikkonen is having an awful time with it at the moment. Don't know what's going on with him. He's having such a difficult season, bless him. He's going to have to try and come back maybe in the second half of this early season and maybe just get some more points in the ball, because otherwise Ferrari are going to really struggle with just Sebastian trying to get some points. We've got Stoffel Van Dorn and Esteban Ocon going down the start-finish straight with the DRS wide open. Van Dorn got quite a bit of heavy damage to his side pod. There's quite a bit of paint missing off of that, but it looks like we've got both of the Mercedes yet again battling for the lead. So Hamilton has caught up to Valtteri Bottas, and Bottas, he could have defended that. He could have defended that a lot more than he has. So Hamilton just waltzes on past of his Finnish teammate. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with that there. If Bottas just didn't fancy fighting, but I think one of the main talking points is the fact that Verstappen's in P3 and the Mercedes are still going to fight. Bottas is actually going to fight back and try and go around the outside like he has all race, bearing in mind that Hamilton is on the super soft and Bottas is on the soft, so Hamilton's probably going to win that realistically. We've got Carlos Sainz battling with Ocon. Ocon can't get past Carlos Sainz at the moment. Carlos Sainz is doing a pretty decent job all the way down there, but Lewis Hamilton is just still having to hold off his teammate Valtteri Bottas because it's very close, but Hamilton will cross the line and Hamilton does win the Chinese Grand Prix. He deserved that. It was a good old fight between both of the Mercedes, but
Nice job, P6. Good recovery drive. Just bring it home and we'll see you in park firming.
right guys, thank you. All eyes indeed on Lewis Hamilton. He did a fantastic job. Good battles throughout with the Mercedes driver. Toto Wolff obviously happy. It's going to be a difficult season by the looks of it. It doesn't look like Mercedes can run away with it like they have in previous seasons. So the fight is on at the front. Obviously, Ferrari won the first round. They looked really competitive and good for the second race win. But obviously the retirement didn't help. So back-to-back retirements for Kimi now. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas looked leagues ahead here in China. The next round is obviously Baku. And it's going to be interesting to see who can win there and who can claim victory at the circuit of Azerbaijan. Now that's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this race. There's a few little different elements to this career mode that I'm adding every little time, obviously with the Twitter and obviously the team radio. So little bits coming in here and there, which will obviously make do for the rest of the season. I'll see you for the next video, which should be the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I'll hand you off to Nick for the after race report. I'll see you then, guys. Bye-bye.
Mercedes took full advantage of their qualifying position and thus made it a 1-2 for the Silver Arrows. Hamilton got the better of Bottas on the day, and Verstappen managed to beat Ricciardo and Vettel to third. Dixon managed to come through the field to make a recovery drive to P6, and Pierre Gasly also returned to the points, finishing in 8th. Both Nico Hülkenberg and Sergio Perez scored their first points of the season before we head out to Azerbaijan for round 4. Who knows what challenge the teams will face when we reach Baku. If qualifying is set for wet running, then chaos is sure to follow. I've been Nick Allflat, and I'll see you next time.